What up, is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads? We have another daily Dynasty video, and it is Cornerstones, more Cornerstones. And what are Cornerstones? Cornerstones are these pieces that you have for years to come to really solidify and be that anchor to the rest of your roster. And these guys are pretty close to league winners year by year by year, and they're going to have some long track record in the future. If you're new to the channel, we are giving away a Jerry Jeudy signed jersey. I feel like I've said this a lot, but it is still signed. It is still Jerry Jeudy jersey. We're going to give that away at 1,000 subscribers. So, we are going to start with quarterbacks. And then we're going to go to tight ends a little bit later in the video too. Yes, we are double dipping here. And the reason for it, I think those positions are not easier, but I think they have just, I don't know, there's less discussion about them. I mean, let's just start with quarterbacks. We'll get to the tight ends. So, quarterbacks at number 1, Pat Mahomes. I don't understand why you couldn't have Pat Mahomes, and I understand he's not been a quarterback that's drafted in the last 2 years, but still, Pat Mahomes. I mean, most people say, oh, Cornerstones, they got to be drafted, they got to be super young, they got to be drafted either 2019, 20, or 21. I don't care. Pat Mahomes, number 1. Then we'll start going on to Josh Allen, who is my number 2 cornerstone quarterback. I think both these quarterbacks can be really great for the next, 10 years. You can see the next, I think Josh Allen reminds me a lot of the abilities of kind of like the Aaron Rodgers type. He has mobility. He has deceptive mobility. I used to have him on my redraft leagues every year because I knew that he was going to rush for 6 touchdowns. He has this iconic, I guess you can say iconic moment, where he hurdles Anthony Barr, who's an incredibly athletic freak, and just hurdles him. And I was just like, okay, Josh Allen, here we go. And of course, when he came out of Wyoming, he was throwing balls 75 yards on his knees and stuff. He's crazy athletic, crazy good. His accuracy was the big jump, and he's got his elite wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. So I think that's a big, huge gain for Josh Allen. And they're going to continue to develop the offense around him. Eventually, they're going to get themselves a tight end at some point. Maybe they'll have a running back game at some point, but maybe not. I mean, you just never know. You hope they do to really continue to better the team for the playoff picture, and they're just a really good team in general, which is why I really like, of course, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. They're too easy they're like low-hanging fruit. They're just too easy to grab. But I am gonna have one more, and this is, there was the Kyler Murray talk, there's been the Trevor Lawrence talk, there's been a lot of different quarterbacks, even Joe Burrow, of who do we take as a kind of a cornerstone. And I'm going to go above and beyond those two players, just in the general of cornerstone. I love Kyler Murray, but I think his running ability, we've seen this before. We've never seen this before, and we've never seen it. We've never seen a running quarterback be that amazing over a long period of stretch. We just haven't. And so until that happens, until somebody breaks that kind of curse or rule or whatever you might want to talk about, then I'm going to have him as kind of a tier 2 quarterback cornerstone, which we'll talk about those cornerstones at a different video. But it is going to be Mr. Herbert. And so when we talk about Herbert, he had broke records his rookie year. He was Offensive Rookie of the Year. Sorry, Justin Jefferson, but he had Offensive Rookie of the Year, and you're talking about he did better stats than Russell Wilson's a pretty decent rookie year. You could say amazing. You could Peyton Manning and even Burrow and everybody. Burrow got hurt, but even on that pace, Burrow wouldn't have been where Herbert was. So I think Herbert is that third guy. Trevor Lawrence, I have all the faith in the world, and I really could put him at 4, but I just want to see him play in the NFL, right? If you told me I had to pick Herbert or Lawrence right now, I would be really, really hard to try to figure out what that is. But cornerstone, I think Trevor Lawrence is a for sure thing, but I'm putting him at tier 2. I'm just putting him at tier 2 because we've seen what Herbert did his rookie year, and so that's my biggest thing. If you argue and say, no, Trevor Lawrence is a cornerstone, that is perfectly fine. Lawrence is the easy 101 in super flex leagues, and he might be one of the highest drafted quarterbacks when it comes to 1 QB leagues too, just because of his safety. He's the next generational talent, people say. I think he easily could be the next Luck, and Andrew Luck even had really good productive stats, just injury prone there. So we're going to tight ends, and there's only 2, and because tight ends are kind of in this weird realm of where you have older players, and I like Kittle, I like Kelsey. I mean, Kelsey's a lot older, but and Kittle, you could say, is maybe a cornerstone, but he's got injury prone and stuff like this. I want young. I want super young, under 25. I want the last couple drafts here, but the number one is going to be T.J. Hockenson, and T.J. Hockenson is going to get target monstered here, and I can't see Goff being. I can't see him not being Goff's number one target. T.J. Hockenson. I almost said Trevor Hockenson. T.J. Hockenson. Maybe his real name is Trevor. I don't know. What does TJ stand for? I actually looked up what JK and DK stand for, just because I was interested. And it's like Decarius something. So that's DK, and then JK is like Jacarius or something. So he's JK Dobbins. So it's just interesting because I'm like, who would name their kid DK? Well, who named their kid Haha Clinton? Or Haha. Maybe it's just Haha. Maybe his last name Clinton Dix. The football names are weird. But anyways, back on track. Where were we? TJ Hockenson. Don't know his real first name. Also, my first name's Trevor Lawrence is actually William Lawrence. Just, again, another weird fact of, like, why do we call these players by different names? It'd be like Tom Brady and all of a sudden realize his real name's not Tom. It's like Timothy Brady or something, but it's not. It's actually Tom. All right, so T.J. Hockenson, back on to the train tracks. We're here. So T.J. Hockenson, super young. We're talking about he's going to be target monstered there, and even if they get an elite wide receiver, or even get two wide receivers over the next couple of years, I think T.J. Hockenson is going to be a monster into that offense. Even if they're a bad offense, or even if they're a non-productive offense, I'm seeing Kittle type, pretty close to I think Kittle type numbers. And we're talking. I have him, I think he's going to have like 800 yards. Just targeted all the time. I mean, the biggest thing is he does have these weird drops and stuff, but I think that he can hopefully correct those. All right? So, number two, this is probably the most controversial. Oh, I'm going to do it. I said that I don't like having rookies as cornerstones, and you know where this is going. It is Kyle Pitts. And the reason for it is because he's 20 years old. He is the best prospect that I have graded or I have looked at the tight end position in the last 10 years. As more than Evan Ingram, more than O.J. Howard, any of those players. I think Kyle Pitts can do it. The problem with Kyle Pitts is he hasn't even stepped on the field yet. And that is a big problem. But, I mean, when you look at the tight end realm here, who else are you going to pick? There's really 6 good tight ends. You have Kelsey, who's getting older. You have Kittle, who, I mean, injury prone. I mean, he's starting to get a little bit older too. Waller, who's already 29. So you kind of have to erase those 3. And then we go into some younger guys. We talk about Mark Andrews, but his quarterback situation, and now they loaded up in wide receiver. And then who else? We have T.J. Hockenson. We have Kyle Pitts. We have Noah Fant, but Noah Fant, again, you have a bunch of wide receivers there and a really big quarterback issue there. And then you have the rest of the tight ends, who are the 7 through 20 that are all kind of the same, that we hope are flyers that are just never usually the great. They never turn into something great. So that's why I think Kyle Pitts' value is so high right now, is because people are desperate in need for a tight end. And so that is why Kyle Pitts is my cornerstone. That's kind of how I did it. I didn't want to have one just cornerstone tight end. I wanted to have another one, and I think Kyle Pitts is worthy of that, even though he hasn't stepped on the field yet. And so with the height that he has been, I mean, this could be easily backfire. We could look 12 months in advance and go, wow, we misjudged Kyle Pitts. But I think that would be the minority and the very small percentage compared to the bigger percentage of what could actually happen. And he could actually break some tight end records. And we could be talking about a Herbert year for like tight end. We could see him breaking some tight end records. Probably not touchdowns because Gronk destroyed that. But maybe you could see Kyle Pitts again into that 750 yards, and maybe he has 6-7 touchdowns and becomes Matt Ryan's really go-to guy even in his rookie year. And if not even that, maybe he has an underwhelming year and he's tight end 10, but then you look and go, wow, he's 21 years old and he's already been a tight end 10. You're going to see this guy. I really don't see his value dropping off a ton. So Kyle Pitts is slowly kind of moving up my boards into kind of where he should be and where most people have him anyways. All right. So again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We're giving away this Jerry G signed jersey. Boop. We hit 1K, which will be not too long. Hopefully here at maybe at the end of the month. All right. See you tomorrow. Peace out. Take care. Now turn up.